Hey, everybody, welcome to Sid's Tips, and I am back speaking with Patrick Parizo, who just got done with Shark Tank. And wow, I was so excited to see the episode, and here it is. First of all, congratulations. Amazing, amazing. 1.6
Like,
million in sales.
yeah, yeah. Well, and we, that was when we filmed, which was middle of the year. So we did end up finishing up 2020 with just shy of 3 million in sales. So we had a great year last year. Um, so first, it really comes down to the people who have like supported us through all these years, and especially in 2020 when we made the move to really, expand into the market. And we have a ton of supporters and a ton of people that back us. So, we appreciate all the people who have helped us. So
That's awesome. Well, here is the draft top. I learned about it on Kickstarter and was just so excited about it. I got it, and it's such a cool product. And I remember last year when we were actually working in an office and showing everybody, hey, give me your can, and just having a blast with it. So when you announced that you're going to be on Shark Tank, I was like, oh, cool, because it's not often you get to really get to know someone and hearing about them going on Shark Tank. So we're going to talk a little bit about that really tonight, what the whole experience is like. So what was the experience like, with getting on Shark Tank? How did you guys come together and say, let's go on Shark Tank? And what was the process like?
yeah, so we had a great crowdfunding campaign that started December 2019. It was December 2nd, 2019, and we ran till I think January 2nd. And it was a great campaign. We just shy of 600,000, and then we went over to Indiegogo and we continued that campaign. So in February, the producers, I think they go out and they do search for some businesses, but they saw our campaign and they actually reached out to us and asked us if we wanted to apply for the show. So we really didn't have any mind. We were kind of, you're kind of like tunnel vision and what you're focused on. So we weren't thinking of applying for the show at that point. But when we got the email, Armin and Sean and Alex and I, we got together and we just said, well, it's here. Someone recognized us, so maybe we should take advantage of the opportunity. So we went through the application process and the whole thing for that. So, yeah.
Did you have to go audition or anything, or you just get approved?
Yeah. So I've heard different variations of how people get on the show like previous years, but this in 2020 when COVID hit, it was, I don't know how everybody else did it, but everything was Zoom and video, and you do recordings of different things. So it was weird when we were doing it, when we were doing our audition, because my three other partners were all over the country. So it's a video conference. We're not like we didn't come together to do it. So it was a little different, but we had a lot of fun with it, and so, yeah, it was good.
That's awesome. So when was the episode recorded?
So we went out, it was late summer, August timeframe, where we went out to Vegas and did the recording for it. Yeah. So
Did you, and the others that were, presenting as well, were those the same people that recorded when you did it as well? Did you see them, or is it just you?
Yeah, it's interesting. The people that were with us the day of, which everything was very. A lot of people asked us about like safety and things like that. It was very like quarantine, and we had to get tested multiple times, and we were in our room for a few days. And but when we went down, the people that were there presenting that day, none of those people were on the show that day. So they do a lot of filming and they put it together, so.
Very cool. So when you before presenting, did you actually get involved with the setup on the stage and work with the producers, or did they do it
Yeah,
for you?
yeah. So you're you're in like this big warehouse. Um, it's very weird. I've never been on any show before, and so the set that you see it it looks like, I don't know. It's like this, but behind it is like it's this warehouse, and so you have your props all set up, and you go back there and how the display is before they kind of wheel it out, and
Oh,
you
wow.
you get to do that and make sure it looks the way that you want it to look, and but the the show and the producers, they're so good at really helping out with that and making it what it is. So it was didn't take a whole lot on our part, but you do a couple things different, and maybe what you want to present to the sharks and stuff like that. You get some say, and then when you get to do kind of like a cursory walkout before you go to just to make sure everything looks okay, and then you do your then the real deal comes in.
So did you actually get to meet the sharks before presenting?
So no, and I don't know if it's like that every season. So because of COVID, even on the show, like you get a deal, or even if you don't, like you can't go up and shake their hands or can't do anything. So
Right.
they're they're very passive about letting you get too close to them and do certain things and stuff like that. So we didn't really get to go up and talk to them or anything like that. Yeah.
Even after the show?
No. So
Oh, wow. Okay.
yeah. So it was very tight, and again, I've heard different stories from different seasons for people who have aired, but we didn't really get to do anything like that.
So now you're walking through, they're announcing you're coming on stage and the door
Yeah.
opens up. Now, do you hear anything when that's happening? What's going
Yeah.
on right at that moment?
So there's no music playing, but Armin was walking through with me, so to make him feel more comfortable, I was whispering the tune of how it goes
It's
while we were
funny.
walking.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah, just to make him like, it's not me, So
And the door opens up and you're like, oh my God, this is it. We're on the stage with the sharks. Like that must have been so cool to be on there and to like be in front of these sharks.
yeah, it was very surreal. So I've grown up watching the show, and I've been an entrepreneur for a very long time. And you kind of always like, man, I hope I hope I can make it on this show one day. I hope I can do something like this. I hope, and so to actually get to experience it was pretty surreal. I don't think there's really no words to kind of captivate the moment of it. But outside of being super nervous, very, very crazy. It's crazy being out there with them because it's like a nonstop drilling. It's just like, so what, you get maybe a 7. We had about just under 10 minutes airtime. It goes up to 15 minutes, right? Depending on what's going on. But you could be out there. We were out there, I think, close to an hour
Oh,
with the show,
wow. Okay.
right? So there's a lot that goes on the show. There's no retake. So whatever happens, and they're filming
Yeah.
the whole time. And the producers, they're capturing everything, and then they make the show out of it. So whatever you say is that that could be held against you, when you get on air. And so there's no retakes, and yeah, so it's kind of nerve-wracking because you're out there and they're drilling, and it goes by really quick.
Wow.
So when we're sitting there on the night of air, you're excited because you know everything that happened, but you don't know what they're gonna put on TV,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh goodness. How
yeah.
how how many times did you practice to do your pitch? Because you guys did a good job.
Yeah, so probably the benefit of COVID, we were stuck in our hotel room for a few days. So we didn't have anything to do but practice our pitch and practice like numbers and things that we thought the Sharks would ask. Um, so really when we went out there and presented, and we were really ready and really prepared for a lot of that stuff, which when you go back and look at the air, sometimes you see the drama of the numbers and things, and there wasn't a whole lot of drama there because we really kind of had that locked in. So
Yeah, that's great. And so now you're presenting and you're watching Robert trying to open the can. He's struggling. The
yeah,
others are struggling. And I'm watching you as you're trying to answer the questions. And I'm like, oh, is
yeah,
he going to cry? Is he going
yeah,
to break? And it was great. You did a great job. But
yeah.
what's going through your mind when you're seeing Robert struggling and the others trying to figure out how to use it? And then obviously Daymond, it just struck a chord with him.
Yeah, so we know we kind of have this, we're still in this startup phase, and we have a unique product that's no one's ever really seen before. There's a little bit of user experience for it, right? And we're pretty transparent about it, and we put a lot of information out, like the YouTube videos and different things, like here's good techniques and stuff. So some of the things that they didn't show was, we did try to hone that in. The Sharks did struggle with that in the beginning. They were, going to be honest, they were like 5-year-olds. They were all over the place and all yelling and this and that. So it was really hard to like put them at bay. But
That's funny.
once the show didn't captivate, which, was a little upsetting because it was a really good moment for us.
Yeah.
One of the things we did on the show was, because we know like there's the learning curve, but for anyone that can experience what it's like with the top totally off of a can versus with it on, like if they can experience that first, then most people are willing to learn how to use the tool because it's that much of a difference. So what we did was we brought out, we used Blue Moon because Blue Moon, there's a significant difference between the two, like with the top on, drinking regular, and then with the top totally off with a garnish. So when we presented to the Sharks, that's the beer that we presented, and we had them do a taste test. We had them taste it with the top on, drinking it, and then tasting it with the top off with the garnish. And they were all blown away by it. They were all like, oh my God, like, is this the same drink? Because we had the drink covered. We weren't allowed to really promote Blue Moon. But they were all like really blown away. And I was like, for a minute, I was like, this was a really good, we nailed this part of the pitch. And then it went back to the tool and the product, and we're kind of where we were at the time as a startup. So, but leaving there, it really honed in and made us realize as we continue this journey, it's always going to be about the experience. It's about, it's about the finished product and stuff like that. And we're, as a startup, we're always working to make that better.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything you would do differently, looking back now?
I think like anything, you wish you had like a little bit more of a witty comment, or,
Yeah.
like Sharks says, one of the moments that I remember, and Armin and I were both laughing afterwards, because Robert was like really struggling with it.
It was so funny at the very end of the show.
He was very, he was so, I'm trying to animated about it too. And I finally, I said to him, I said, well, you're not really in our demographic anyways. Cause he's like, he's like in his high 50s, and our range is like early 20s to 30s and early 40s. And so, the Sharks like got a kick out of it, and they're laughing, and they're like, "Are you calling him old? Are you calling him old?"
That's funny.
So there are a couple moments I wish they grabbed, but we had a good time out there. The Sharks are very good. We bumped into a few of them after the show. Didn't get to talk to them, but it's like kind of walked by, and they're like, "Hey, great job! Good luck to you guys." Like very, very positive. Even on the show, they weren't we've heard the horror stories of people getting beat up really, really bad and things. And they weren't like that with us. Most of it was very positive for a product that some of them didn't understand, but I don't think they fall in the category of canned beverages or beer. And, so they may not have understood it, but even Mark, Daymond, even Robert was just like very positive. They kind of understood what we were doing and what we were trying to do. So it was good.
So I was a little surprised Damon went with it, but what was that moment like when he made you the offer, you guys accepted, and have you been speaking with him much since the show?
Yeah. So he really, it was a really crazy twist because Daymond he was kind of quiet for a lot of the show, right? And everyone was really talking about the tool and how they personally were experiencing it. And Daymond came at the end and just, which didn't get captured on the show, but he was like, "How did you guys do this?" So, Armin kind of got to go into his backstory during that time. He found out we all quit our previous jobs. Like 3 of my partners quit their previous job, and I, being a business owner prior to this, I pretty much removed most of what I was doing and left it to my girlfriend to run that business. And I came over to this. So I think at that point, he's like, Armin's has 3 kids. He had a great career. He left all that for this. The 2 other partners left their careers for this. And I think that's when, with the sales and how well we were doing and the things we're talking about and where we're trying to go, I think that kind of opened up for him to at least, he started asking more questions and even now, like getting to know a little bit more about us. I think one of the things, you go on there with a product to sell on Shark Tank, but most of the time, in my experience, even watching the show, and then being on the show, most of the time the sharks are investing in you, maybe not necessarily the product, because they believe in your drive and your passion. They're an investor, so they're looking for the right thing. But I think we presented ourselves well and our mission and stuff like that. So
have you been speaking to Daymond since the show much? And can you just call him at any time? How does that work?
So there's a group that's dedicated to you. We haven't finalized anything with him. He wanted to wait till after the show, but even before, and there's no obligation yet. He's been great. He's got on the phone with us the day of the show. I think just speaks to his character. The evening of the show, a couple hours before the show, he called us and was like, good luck tonight. He said he got to kind of see a glimpse of what it looked like. And he was very excited for us, and just wanted to congratulate us on our hard work. So he just took 5-10 minutes out of his day just to say that. But we've had a couple things go on, and we've reached out to him and his group just for some guidance and for some help. And they're just very great to work with. Yeah.
And obviously you made the deal. So are you guys still finalizing, getting paid, or have you already gotten your investment and now you're working together?
Yeah, we haven't finalized anything yet. But they just have been very open, and we could reach out to them and say, hey, look, we're questioning this, or we have a question here or there, and they're very good about helping out, at least giving some hindsight on experience and stuff. So it's been great. So,
that's great.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So moving on from the show and just talking a little bit about the product. So obviously you guys came out with the newer version, and maybe you can just talk about that in case some people were wondering why. And maybe you could just demonstrate it too while we're on here. That would be awesome. I'm sure some people still need, it's like a lesson for some people. Yeah. But I love it. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's crazy. You know, you see a product like this, and you're kind of like, well, you know, how much. Oops, sorry, I got something up there. How much really goes into something like this? And I mean, we have one of our partners is a robotics engineer, and he came in and really redesigned the whole tool to figure out to make it work. So the 1.0 was the first version that we came out with crowdfunding. The one great thing about crowdfunding, huge advocate of it, having gone through it, is you get a lot of early backers. They know there's probably going to be a few little flaws here and some things going on, and you know it's a first time to market type of product. You get a lot of feedback on things like, you know, that you do different, or hey, what about this? What about that? So we collected a lot of information over almost a year, or well, about 6 to 8 months, and then we went back and redesigned and changed a couple things where people were struggling. So the 2.0 version, much easier to use. We have a new blade design that they went back and reworked. Longevity. There was some people that were over squeezing on certain cans and causing the handle to break or pieces here to break. So we revamped that, and could be as simple as like a plastic mixture. It's very, I want to be the one to be able to talk about it because that's on our engineering side, but
Right.
There's a lot that goes into it, the samples that they get, and he's always trying new things and seeing how they can make the product better. We spend quite a bit of money trying to improve the product just because we appreciate all the people who back us and follow us. We always want to find a way to make it better. So this version we came out with in December, and the reviews so far, it's so we're going in a good direction.
That's great. So maybe you can just show.
Yep. So we have
putting it on there.
Yep. So I can walk everyone through it real quick.
Yeah,
so,
that'd be great.
Yeah. So this clicks out and it kind of locks out. You have a tab that's there, and you want to match it up with the tab on the can, so that way it doesn't slip off. And then you squeeze to where it starts flexing. Then you know you're kind of bottomed out on it, and you do a couple turns. You go back and forth. I think that's the best method to use. And this one fully popped off, and yeah. So it.
There you go. Simple as that. And
Yeah.
for those that don't want to, tap it off, you could just push it down.
Yep.
And
it removes the sharp edge. And essentially, the main part with it is by allowing the aromas to come out on most beverages, like even canned wine. You want it to breathe. So by allowing it to do it, it makes the beverage taste better, but you're also smelling it, which just enhances the taste as well. So you wouldn't think it'd be so much science behind it, but there really is. Yeah. So
that's very cool. And you guys are going to come out with some other kind of products as well, or just?
Yeah, we're in the pipeline this year where, we're going to become from a one-hit wonder to a brand. So we
won't
have
be just Rick Ashley.
Yeah. We're not just going to be the 500 miles, it's
Yeah. Can't wait to see what's next. Can't wait to see what's next. But anyway, congrats. So glad we connected. I was really excited to hear what the experience was like. I know a lot of people are as well. And I'm going to put a link in the description down below so you can take a look at the site. You can order. They've got a lot of different options to choose from. And congratulations, Daymond, as well, on his investment. And congratulations to you guys. Fantastic. Awesome.
Thank you for all your support through all this. It's really appreciated.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for joining me, and congrats to all the success. When I see the amount of social media that you guys do, it's really a great job, and it says a lot about what you're doing. So keep it up, and I'm cheering for you.
Thank you, man. We'll
Thank
talk soon.
you.